Time now to head to the World Economic Forum, which has drawn to a close. Let's cross to business editor Kate Moody in Davos. Gosh, Kate, that's what Davos looks like when there's no snow.
Yeah, it's a pretty astonishing sight. No one here was really expecting it. There was a lot of rain forecast this week, Francois, but the sun has come out just for the closing day here at Davos.
All right, and the big story today was a keynote speech delivered by Germany's new chancellor.
Yeah, from beginning to end this week, we have heard absolute condemnation of Russia's actions and huge displays of support for Ukraine. Olaf Scholz's speech today was no different. He delivered a blistering attack on Vladimir Putin, accusing him of waging an imperialist war, a major nuclear power behaving as if it had the right to redraw borders. He said that Putin had underestimated the unity and vigor with which the G7, NATO, and EU would respond to his aggression. And he said that those unprecedented sanctions that have been levied against Moscow are starting to cause serious economic pain there. The cracks in that unity, though, have begun to be very apparent during this week. The EU representatives who were here, all unanimous, saying in that they were ready to impose an embargo on Russian oil. That's something that President Zelensky called for in his opening remarks back on Monday. But we know that Hungary has refused to sign on. Without that approval from all 27 member states, the embargo cannot take place. It cannot be adopted. The issue of EU reliance on natural gas from Russia is also a sticking point there because the EU does continue to funnel millions of euros to Moscow for those supplies. Calls for an accelerated energy transition, which we heard from Scholz and other leaders this morning, aren't necessarily bearing fruit. Scholz said that Germany's goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2045 was only being boosted by Putin's war. Ursula von der Leyen had a similar message earlier in the week. But as is often the case here in Davos, action on those issues has yet to follow. There was also quite a lot of discussion about the implications of Mr. Putin's war on the global economy, on inflation, and on how businesses get along throughout the globe. It was an important show of international solidarity for Ukraine. There's absolutely no question about that. From these speeches that we heard to the total absence of Russian delegates this week, to the Russian War Crimes House and Ukraine House, which are on display in the main street here in Davos, and they're both showcasing the atrocities that are still taking place across the country. But as every Ukrainian representative who was in Davos this week stressed, these shows of solidarity are not enough. They need more weapons. They need more financing. They need more sanctions against Moscow if Ukraine is going to emerge victorious from a war which everyone said is a direct attack on the kind of international order that Davos is all about.
Yeah, the showdown with Russia. You also have supply chain issues post-pandemic, tensions with China. It's got everyone wondering what globalization will look like in the 21st century.
Yeah, from vaccines and semiconductors to energy and food imports. This is a question that has really been being asked since the last World Economic Forum was held here back in January 2020, an entirely different world pre-pandemic. Is this global system really sustainable? It'll become as perhaps very little surprise to you to hear that most of the people that I spoke to this week say, yes, it can still be the way that we do business, maybe some changes in order, but everyone says that reverting back to a local or purely national system is not the answer. Diversification seems to be the solution that people are talking about here. Olaf Scholz, for example, describing it as the need to create an international order in which powers can interact, but with everybody's best interest at heart. Herbert Diess of Volkswagen saying that there is a need to foster competition and innovation because he said that a self-sufficient, contained world cannot solve any problems. Pat Gelsinger from Intel also telling me that it's not about removing the international aspect of things, but rather spreading it around for more general interdependence. This is very much in line with the traditional wisdom here in Davos, but it is clear that crisis upon crisis upon crisis over the last 2 years have made people think, reflect a little bit. It hasn't altered that worldview, though, and that here, at least, despite that rather gloomy outlook for the global economy in the months to come, there is still some hope for partnership, for solutions to come, and it's something we're likely to hear, as the head of the World Economic Forum said, it's something he's hoping to say again next January.
Kate Moody with the closing word on Davos. Many thanks for that live update from the World Economic Forum.